Hello everybody, I am Tom and you are watching me play Warframe. Today is going to be my NYX build. This is my NYX, my NYX Prime I should say. I think she looks very, very cool. The deluxe skin they added I've got for the actual body, and then the helmet I've just got the NYX Prime helmet because I like the Prime helmet. It's quite a cool helmet, like it's like ridiculously over the top and really long, but I like it. It kind of gives me like a alien from Aliens vibe. I don't know why, I guess just because of the shape. But, I don't know, I think it looks awesome. In any case, let's go for the actual build. First things first, go for the abilities. Actually, this is NYX Prime. Yeah, NYX Prime, good. Go for the abilities. First thing first, passive enemies are 20% less accurate when targeting NYX Prime. I mean, that's just straight up a good passive, I suppose. She's just harder to hit. So, essentially 1/5 of the time, the enemies will miss, when ordinarily they would have hit if you were another Warframe. It's kind of a boring passive, but it is, I mean, functionally quite good, I suppose. Although, also kind of irrelevant with the way that I play NYX, but we'll get there. First, we have her first ability, which is Mind Control. NYX invades the psyche of a target, confusing enemies and making them fight for the Tenno cause. Targets then fired upon by NYX receive a damage multiplier. So this lasts for just over half a minute. The range is kind of irrelevant. It's how far away you can target an enemy. That's what the range means on that. And the drain is next to nothing. 12.5 is very, very cheap. Having said that, having an enemy on your side isn't that useful. The reason being is that enemies do pitiful amounts of damage compared to how much health they have. Essentially, the way that Warframe scaling kind of works is that us as Warframes have very, very little effective health and a huge amount of damage we can output. And enemies do very, very little damage comparatively, but they have enormous amounts of effective health. It's kind of how the way that they scale the enemies, because they have to, because it's like a horde game, so you need to scale it that way. Otherwise, everything would one-shot the Warframes. But as such, when you control an enemy, it's doing kind of piss-poor damage compared to the amount of health it's trying to get to for its fellow enemies. Which makes mind control effects kind of which is kind of NYX's real problem, is that a lot of her ability, like Chaos, is the same thing, essentially, it's just mind control. But enemies attacking each other tends not to do a whole lot. Granted, if they're on your side, they're not shooting you. So that's, like, it's a defensive thing, is very, very good, but for, like, an offensive capability, it's not that amazing. Her second ability is Psychic Bolts. NYX launches a cluster of force bolts at enemies using telekinesis to adjust flight path and seek nearby targets. Hits strip some enemy defenses. You can see the debuff there is 32%, not a huge amount. I find this to be a fairly lackluster power. If this was her 1, I'd be more okay with it. It feels very much like the power of what you would expect a 1 to be, which you kind of like, it does a little bit of damage, can strip some defenses, which defenses, it means armor and shields, by the way. But it's kind of like, I find myself very, very rarely using this ability. And I feel like NYX needs a rework in general. Just because a lot of her abilities are kind of lackluster. And we go on to the next ability. One of her abilities that isn't particularly lackluster is Chaos. With a powerful psychic blast, NYX causes mass hysteria on the battlefield by confusing all enemies to attack random factions. This is really, really good just for survivability and to be able to run through a mission without having to kill things. So if you're on a mission where you don't need to murder everything, this is a perfectly fine way you can just make everyone crazy and they all start shooting each other. And then you can pretty much run through and don't have to worry about the enemies. But again, there are plenty of Warframes that can just murder all of the enemies. So it's kind of like, Having said that, it is useful to just make everyone crazy. As you can see there, the radius is 62.5 meters, which is a fairly significant range where you can make everybody crazy. And it lasts for about half a minute again. And now, her last ability, and her best ability with the way that I have it built, is her Absorb. NYX absorb all incoming damage and channels that collected energy into an explosive radial discharge. You can see here that I don't actually convert that much damage. And it's not really built for power, as you can see here. But if we go into the build, I can show you why. This build centers entirely around an augment, which is Assimilate. You'll notice this takes no former. I was having a hard time kind of finding an argument to put former in her, because she doesn't really need it. Like, you might consider putting some Umbral mods in here, but she doesn't really need power strength, particularly for the way I build her. In fact, it's arguably beneficial to get rid of the power strength, because overextended is so good. Having that much range is really, really nice. So it's kind of like, you don't want Umbral Intensify, and normal Vitality is strictly better than Umbral Vitality, unless you're combining it with the other Umbral mods. And she has such low armor that you don't, such low armor that you don't want Umbral Fiber either. So it's kind of like, eh? So you just don't really want to former her. At least I didn't. Like, I just fiddle this without having to do anything. But anyway, let's go for the build. We have Corrosive Projection, reducing enemy armor, always good on pretty much all Warframes. Unless you've got another specific use for this slot, I pretty much always go for Corrosive Projection in the Zora slot. We have Cunning Drift. This is here for the ability range, that's it. You also get the Slide and the Friction, which is nice, but kind of irrelevant. Arcanes, we have Arcane Aegis, Arcane Nullifier, my go-to these days. We have Prime Flow for a bunch of extra energy. As you can see now, our energy is 563, which is not insignificant. We have Fleeting Expertise for plus 50% ability efficiency and minus 50% to the duration. We have Vitality here for more health. Overextended gives a bunch of range and costs us a bunch of strength. As you can see here, I was talking about earlier, I don't really need the strength, and Overextended is just so good that I really want it on this build. We have Prime Continuity to get a bunch of ability duration, essentially to get the ability duration back that we lose from Fleeting Expertise. That's why that's there, for the most part. We have Stretch for ability range. Augur Reach for ability duration, again just to get that duration above 100%. And then we have Assimilate. What Assimilate does is it's a augment for her 4th ability, and she can move while in her 4. At 50% movement speed, granted, but you can move, you can shoot, you can do pretty much anything you want while you're in your 4, which makes it very, very good, because you literally just become invulnerable, and you can just walk up and shoot things. So we can illustrate this now. My Vector's Prime will do for illustrating this. I may as well get energy all the way up. Yeah, sure, let's go level 145, why not? Come down here. I'm in my 4. You can see here we go quite slowly. But I don't take any damage at all. And you can cast your other abilities like when you're in here, so I can throw some Psychic Bolts. As you can see, they do nothing because they're shit. I can do my 3, make them run crazy. They get this weird effect where they have like a shadowy Nyx on top of them. But as you can see here, like, they do very little damage to each other. This is what I was kind of pointing out. Like, they're sitting around here shooting each other. And they're not killing each other. Like, even getting hit by a bombard rocket, those guys, not much is happening. You can also notice up in the top right corner that I have currently 21,500 damage currently on me. That will go up as these guys attack me. You can see here, it goes up fairly quickly. And I can just walk around and I'm invulnerable. Of course, I can also be shooting these people while I do this. Nothing stopping me doing that. I want this, let's say I want this Ancient, I can cast my 1 on it. So that Ancient is now mine. The reason I picked the Ancient was simply so these guys don't get the buff anymore, more so than me getting the buff. It was because I don't need it, I don't need to be healed because I'm invulnerable. I'm certainly taking my time with this. I could kill these guys a lot, fair amount quicker. There we go. I ran out of energy. That is something that can certainly happen with Nyx. Granted, I also probably would have killed these enemies by now, or ran away and left if it was a different mission tab. Yeah, that'll do. So you can sort of just be the old Terminator. Oh, that's my catch moon, not my Vectus. There we go. As you can see there, they put there's like a damaging explosion when they attack me, but the current build I have has very little power strength, so I don't actually absorb that much damage. You can build for it more specifically. Oh, I think he died. Did she die? Yeah, she did. Slash procs. I think that's everything dead. There might be one more enemy hanging around somewhere. No, that seems about it. But as you can see there, my entire build essentially revolved around hitting 4 and then shooting things. Which, I mean, some people may find boring, but I find this rather fun, because it's dumb. Like, it's just, you're kind of the Terminator, just slowly walking up and murdering fools and then slowly walking away. And as you can see here, you have full control in here, so you can shoot, you can swap weapons, you can go to your melee weapon, you can spin around. This actually makes you go slightly faster, I think, probably. Maybe? Hard to say. But you can just slowly move around and kill things. And you have free range of your abilities too. You can cast any abilities you like while you're in your 4. So it's a nice build. I like it a lot. It's also worth noting that anything inside your bubble will actually be protected as well. So if you cast your 4, I should probably get more energy. So if you cast your 4, there's a defense objective, for instance. Say these health orbs are a defense objective. You go like this, and you just stand on top of them, and enemies can't really attack them. Like, they'll be attacking, but anything inside this bubble is invulnerable, so that's good for defense and stuff as well. But that's Nyx. I don't use her a whole lot, but occasionally I will for like a defense or I occasionally use her for like a sortie rescue or whatever, because you can just set everyone, just hit your 3, everyone goes insane, and then you can just run and do the rescue. And no one is shooting your rescue target. Or if someone is, it's only for a second and then they get distracted by another enemy. The way her 3 works, by the way, is it doesn't, strictly speaking, mind control the enemies. What it does is it makes them so that they're on their own team, as far as the game's concerned. So essentially anybody they see, they will attack. And they attack whoever is closest to them, whether that is one of their allies, or you, or anyone, essentially. The closest thing to them, they will attack and try and kill. Yeah, but that's Nyx. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you're not subscribed already, please consider subscribing. And as always, thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time. Bye guys.